Hello everyone, my name is Bitha and I am here with the Hidden Lenses project to present you people with their personal stories relating to mental health. And here I am with the stories. I'm going to read them one by one so we can all understand and empathize better with people with these struggles. On to the first story. That's okay. Written one. What are you experiencing? I'm dealing with a lot at the moment and have for almost 9 years. But the basic version is I have severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD that hinders my day-to-day life. I had a traumatic experience with my parent a few years ago that is still going on. So I'm dealing with all of that head-on still after all these years. Some days it is so hard for me to get out of bed, and usually I have to cancel plans before because I am so scared of what may happen when I do go. It sucks to say, but I'm used to it. How do you handle it so far? I use music as a way to escape and get my thoughts in order. Writing down what I feel in that moment into song really helps and makes my feelings feel validated and real outside my head. Because if I put them into the real world and outside of my mind, then they are more tangible to deal with and to get through. I also listen to artists that make songs that understand what I'm feeling. I listen to the lyrics more than the instrumental. What kind of support has helped you? Just talking to people. Even if I don't know them that well or are just starting to become friends with them, people really want to listen to help you. I've been on the giving end of this and always want to listen to what people have on their mind, so having someone being able to listen to what I have to say really helps. What kind of advice would you give to people having a similar experience to you? If you feel alone and you feel like no one wants to help or listen to you, there is support out there. Help services like Lifeline, Beyond Blue, Black Dog Institute, they want to help and are always there to offer an ear to listen and a shoulder to cry on. Just talk to someone. Even writing it down on a piece of paper, it really helps. Because when you voice out your thoughts and emotions, you're able to slowly chip away at the things that are making you feel scared, anxious, and sad. Sometimes the pain won't go away entirely, but taking the first step to take your thoughts out of your head is a leap forward. You are stronger than you think. All my life, I felt different, which made me feel alone most of the time. Since a young age, I was aware of what's happening, and the people that were my age didn't. This made me fall into a deep hole for a long time. I was always there for everyone. I was everyone's go-to friend, the one with the best advice, the therapist. I always understood everyone, but no one understood me. This has caused me to fall into deep depression and anxiety for years. And when I tried to ask for help, no one would believe the wise and cheerful person they saw. So I just struggled by myself. Fast forward to recent months where I found out on the spectrum. Finding out something huge like this as an adult filled me with mixed emotions. Suddenly, almost everything made sense and I felt validated, but also grieved the life I could have had and if someone had noticed. This goes to everyone who is going through difficult times, especially late diagnosed neurodivergence. I see you, I hear you, and I believe you. What are you experiencing? Trigger warning, past suicidal ideations. Apparently, I don't have any professional diagnosis, but you don't have to be diagnosed or have a label to show that you are struggling. Our struggle is still real, valid, and painful even without our symptoms fitting to any of the professional criteria. My story has gone past, but as a survivor, I feel like it can be useful for anyone who needs it. Again, you don't need a diagnosis to experience mental health struggles. When I was in my first semester of high school, I went through a lot of pain. I experienced intense grief because a boy whom I had romantic feelings for died in an accident before entering the same high school as I am. Grief is one of the most complicated human experiences, and we all will experience that at some point. We will lose something, someone, either to death or just having them missing or gone in a chapter of our life. And we will need to feel the sadness, numbness, and any emotions that come after. Yet, grief is also often dismissed and forced to solve, so I feel that there is a stigma surrounding grief too. I wasn't even that emotionally close to him, but I did regretful actions towards him, and I was unable to forgive myself for many years, which triggered my fear of abandonment and loss, and influenced my general relationships with people later. A month later, a really close online friend abandoned me without telling me what was wrong. Having a person die and having a dear close friend gone were not easy experiences. Losing loved ones can be a huge attack or a test on our self-worth. At the time, I was already passively suicidal before losing my crush to death, and after he died, I often thought that it should have been me. It shouldn't be him because he was so loved by so many people. People would prefer having him to me, and being abandoned by a close friend without explanation made me question my own worth, whether I'm a good person or someone worth holding on. Being added with a label and being told that I am better off dead confirmed all those nasty, intrusive thoughts that had been triggered for months. I was also struggling to adapt to the new life in high school, feeling that I wasn't able to fulfill the school's social expectations and therefore not worthy. I often think that in my recent age, seeing what I had experienced 6 years ago, I was truly strong that semester, fighting against those thoughts while feeling my deep pain of loss and abandonment, trying my best to rebel against the outer confirmation that I was better off dead. I wouldn't be diagnosed, didn't have symptoms of depression as I still had hopes for future and I'm still motivated to do my tasks. I didn't really have anxiety because the fear of being judged didn't paralyze me, but I was struggling with my self-worth and the pain of grief so bad it triggered further the ideas of suicide. How do you handle it so far? What kind of support has helped you? What kind of advice would you give to people having similar experiences to you? My friends really helped me. I couldn't do it without them. They were the ones who reminded me every single day and time of my positive traits and my worth. It took me several years and it was different for every specific wound. I realized that it's really important to have a support system. If you don't have the privilege to do so, I feel that it is very important to reach out in an especially specific space. Follow accounts on Instagram who make and post daily affirmations and those who are going through the same experience. Awareness account, or join open social media groups like Facebook or Discord for peer support. Reach out to them. They're willing to listen and support you emotionally. Also, look for professional help to help you cope with your condition and to get better. And a personal tip from me would be to write down your little achievements every day. Or if achievement sounds grand to you, tick on the small activities you have done, progressed on assignment, spent time with a friend, watched something you enjoyed, cooked food, cleaned up your room, listened to your favorite music. Remind yourself that you are doing your best to live your life with all your capability, and that is already amazing. Remind yourself that you are a human who is imperfect, prone to mistakes, but also capable of learning and growing. Remember the specific time when you have grown or learned something, and remember that you are also capable in another context, even if that takes more time, and it's okay. We don't always figure it out at first, and you are not also defined by your achievements. You are simply worthy of everything good by existing. My tip was just to remind yourself that we all have our good traits and we are not at all bad just by being imperfect human. I wrote about grief and I have some words on it too. Remember that grief is not the same for everyone. Some people would feel devastated right after the event, some are delayed, the effects are experienced several years later, and some even feel numb. Some would move on quicker, some don't, and sometimes it never truly heals. And that's alright. Feel your experiences. It's okay. It's okay to feel negative or even none at all. It's okay if it takes a lot of time for you. It's okay if you feel that you have healed, but then got triggered and had a breakdown. For me, I dealt with the grief better after 3 years, and after that, Whenever I think about him, I would still cry and I would miss him. He died 6 years ago. Even after I have entered a better chapter in my life, I still grieve for him. And that's alright. Remember that grief is love that never dies. I struggle with a mix of physical and mental health issues, and I know that they can be interconnected. I have depression, anxiety with OCD tendencies. I sometimes lose trust in myself and my thoughts can get out of control. There are ups and downs. Meditation by listening to calming music and being in a nice environment, such as at Yuki Lakes or at my favorite cafe helps. Sitting or laying on the grass and looking at the sky, noticing details like the wind blowing through leaves or little birds, and telling myself that I love myself, reminding myself of the little girl in me that I love, the peace I deserve, and not giving up, doing my best to let go or detach or give no attention to negative emotions and thoughts. When a positive memory or thought comes up, I try to give a lot of attention to it. Talking with my mom helps, and being surrounded by kind people is important. Seeing a stranger smile, being inspired by following pages on social media that are uplifting is wonderful. Trying to use my spare time to volunteer for causes I care about and connect with others that have admirable values. Even just little positive impacts give some energy to me. I think having faith in yourself and not feeling guilty for putting yourself first is crucial. Not comparing. Letting go is a big one. Sometimes I think too much, especially about others and about trying to be perfect. Having compassion for others and being gentle with oneself most of all is so important. Being grateful, I believe kindness should feel freeing. That was some touching, beautiful stories. I noticed that some of them were able to find beauty in the midst of their struggles, but some of them weren't able to, and that is okay if you're one of them. I can't promise you anything, but everything will be okay. And if it doesn't feel like that, that's all right too. But the sun will shine again, and it's about living all of the spectrum of emotion. It's about living it all, and it seems scary. It's scary right now, but okay. One advice from me would be trying not to label emotions as shameful, because I think most of us, if not all of us, grew up to believe that certain emotions are shameful, but they are not at all. So I think believing that is a stepping stone. And to people who are still struggling, you can always reach out for help, the help that you need, even if you feel like you're alone in this world. You are not. That's the one thing that I can promise you. And to the ones who are feeling happy and content, I'm also happy for you. And together we can bring awareness to mental health, because it's really, really important. Also, you can always raise the awareness with little things like checking in with your friends, asking how they're doing, and even sharing positive vibes, sharing hugs and love, and even the little things really matter. So that's all from me for now. I am Bitha as the representative of the Hidden Lenses. and goodbye.